Alright, I got the turbo off, and mostly that's it, but I'm getting ready to take the intake manifold off. I'm going to go ahead and put do the EGR cooler and oil cooler on this while I got it this far apart, as long as I find what the problem is to start with. Otherwise, I'll scrap it. I'd get $400 or $500 out of it, seems like. This thing is quite a chore. I may have mentioned that before, but I need to video where all these bolts are at so I can remember. Because there's a certain pattern to it to hold all the ground wires, shields, etc., etc. I pulled out that valve on the back of the HPOP pump. I think that was the ICP with a screen on it. Or maybe it was the IPR, or I don't know, POS, something. Anyway, it was good. You know what you should do if you ever decide to buy a Ford, bud?
What?
Look behind you. You ain't got nothing to say? Alright. Well, I got the intake manifold off the junk. And there's the EGR cooler. I didn't notice no signs of it failing while I was driving it, but I see she's a little bit damp inside there. So maybe that was just before breaking. So that's good, I guess. And here's the EGR valve. Wasn't gummed up too bad. I might throw that thing in the bushes. Maybe. Hey, that's no way to treat a perfectly good Mountain Dew can.
Well, you can make money off it.
If you have enough of them, you can. Alright, I figured out what the problem is. This is a high pressure oil pump. This thing was made in November of '03. So it doesn't have that STC fitting, as best I can tell, and the high pressure oil pump's a little bit different. But there's supposed to be a ball bearing down in there, and it has popped out, which I understand is somewhat common. So what happens is the oil pump's making oil pressure, low oil pressure. It gets to here, but it can't make enough to keep up with the high oil pressure pump, so which causes your oil pressure to drop at idle. I don't think it's hurt the engine any, because without oil pressure it wouldn't run, but and the bearings would have been lubricated by the time it got here. So I need to do a little more research, figure out how I'm going to fix that. I hope I don't got to buy a new one. I think they're about $1,000. And then we'll do the oil cooler and the EGR cooler, because that's the biggest problems of these motors. And maybe I'll be done with it. What do you think?
Maybe.
Maybe? You know what the problem with that theory is?
What?
Right over here. I'll show you. See what it says right there?
Flooring.
Yep, that's the problem. Have you seen me doing that to that car?
Nope.
Does it have, is it a Ford?
Nope, it's a Firebird.
That's right.